Final Fantasy VII Remake is a sequel. What's up, guys? Veteran Gamer here. And in light of the recent announcement of Final Fantasy VII Integrate, I decided to replay Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, to start things off, I want to be crystal clear that there's going to be a little bit of spoilers here, so that's your warning, FYI. So there's 3 reasons why I think this is a sequel. Reason number 1, the Whispers of Fate. The Whispers of Fate are an entity that were not prevalent in the original game. It is kind of symbolic, as the Whispers of Fate, they are there to ensure the original storyline is intact. They literally either assist or hurt Cloud's team from progressing throughout the story in order to make sure that things go exactly as they were intended. Hence why I said it's symbolic of the original fans. Once you defeat the Whispers of Fate, though, Aerith is the one who states that now there is complete freedom, that the future is not locked in place, that anything can happen. So that is the first reason. The second reason, which I started mentioning already, is Aerith herself. Aerith has some knowledge of what has transpired in the original game, but she herself is unsure of what to make of it. What it is it's the planet that's telling her what needs to be done. The planet is what's telling her that Sephiroth is out of place, and that she herself, as well as the team, needs to stop him. And there are many times throughout the story where she's asked about what she knows, and she's hesitant to say anything about it. The third reason, and this is the most important one, is Sephiroth himself. Sephiroth, throughout the entire playthrough of the remake, mentions multiple times and insinuates multiple times that he is aware of what happens in the original game. In the original game, Sephiroth's main motive was, in short, to merge with the lifestream and become a god. But in the remake, his motive is to change his fate. He even wants Cloud's help in changing his fate. On top of this, the references that he does make, references such as when you confront Sephiroth, he says not yet after you fail to beat him. There's other times where, for example, he says 7 seconds. Veteran fans know what I'm talking about. There are multiple times where he seems to know what's going on, right? And this is compounded by what happens in Advent Children, as well as what Sephiroth is capable of. So in Advent Children, in that movie, which takes place after the game, multiple times Sephiroth, or throughout the story, should I say, it is insinuated that the life stream is like a river and it will repeat itself. Upon Sephiroth's defeat in that movie, however, he turns around and says before he fades off, he will never be just a memory. On top of all of this, when you look at what Sephiroth is capable of, which I actually had to check the official wiki page to verify this, he is capable of manipulating anyone that has Genova cells in them, which is why in the original game, things like, Cloud just willingly handing over the black materia happens. On top of this, throughout your playthrough of the remake, there are times where you see cloaked figures with tattoos of numbers on them. These cloaked figures also have Genova cells in them. And in some cases, Sephiroth is able to manipulate the Genova cells in a person, if you will, and transform them into his own silhouette, if you will. So when Cloud sees Sephiroth in the game, it's not necessarily an hallucination when he sees him. It's Sephiroth's will. Especially when he sees these cloaked figures and Cloud just automatically assumes it's Sephiroth and there's even physical contact, well, that's because it is Sephiroth. It's Sephiroth controlling him and transforming him into his silhouette. That is the main reason why this is a sequel. These 3 things put together insinuate it. Now, I understand that there's a lot of OG fans that wanted a carbon copy of the original, and that's fine. I was one of them too, but I like these changes, right? There are many other things that happen in the remake that insinuate it. Another big one, and there's 2 parts to it, but a big one, is after you defeat the Whispers of Fate, Zack, who is supposed to have died in his final fight, survives. Now, this is a big thing because if he's alive, is it an alternate timeline? Has the timeline been changed? What has transpired? Is it multiple timelines, multiverse, what have you? There's a lot of theories going around. But at the end of the day, he survived an encounter that he wasn't supposed to. And the dog that encompasses that scene that Avalanche references multiple times is a different dog than what it is in the rest of the game. So at the end of the day, when I look at it and I compile it all, this game is a sequel, and it's retold in a manner that if you've never ever played Final Fantasy VII before, you can jump right in and you're not going to be lost. But for us veteran people, especially guys like me who've played, Crisis Core twice, the original game twice, I've watched the movie however many times, this is exciting. I get to have that fresh feeling of theorizing of what's going to change. I still believe that certain key cogs of the original story need to stay in place so that it maintains the essence of Final Fantasy VII while respecting the original fans. I'm okay if they change the where, when, and how of certain events and how these things happen, and that's okay because that'll keep it fresh for me. But I still think certain things need to be kept in place just to make sure, just to honor us, if you will. But I'm thrilled to see what happens. I am thrilled to see where this is going to go. I am thrilled to see exactly where they take this, and I'm all in. I will be purchasing the Yuffie DLC when that comes out. This is Veteran Gamer. Play Final Fantasy VII Remake. You will not be disappointed.